What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a Chicago Bulls and Orlando Magic game reaction, where the Chicago Bulls, again, a very close and competitive game for the majority of the time in this game. And although we probably should have won by a little bit more, we probably could have put this team away a little bit earlier. The important thing is we walked away with a big victory under our name, and it's a victory that we're going to need considering some of the competition that we're going to be facing relatively soon. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game and your overall thoughts and opinions based on everybody that you saw and the competition that we have to face, especially next week. We've got a couple of really strong games to look forward to, and in those instances where you just don't know if you're going to be able to walk away with the win or not against those tougher teams, these games against the Orlando Magic, games against the last game against Portland without Damian Lillard and a lot of their guys, these are the games you have to take advantage of. And we won this game 126 to 115. All the way through, we got a little bit of revenge over the Orlando Magic. Obviously, last time we versed them, they did end up pretty much embarrassing us away from home, and it was all the way through a terrible game. This game was not perfect from the Chicago Bulls. Far from perfect, in all honesty. And the defense has a lot of work to do still if we are going to get anywhere near the level of the competition that we have coming up, especially when they apply certain things to our team. But overall, our offensive game has been good, our defense still needs work, and the Bulls, I guess the ongoing issues with the Chicago Bulls have not yet been resolved. What I liked about this game is in the first half, we were very much moving the ball. This is the first time, I believe, in our history that we had 2 games in a row where we scored 70-plus points in the first half. Obviously, the assist numbers would show for that. Our ball movement, our management of the game all the way through would have helped with that as well. All the way through, really positive game in that area. The fourth quarter was bad, and again, we allowed them to keep coming back. We allowed them to eventually tie the game, I believe, in the fourth quarter as well. So we still have a lot of work to do in managing the game, making sure they don't get anywhere near us in the game. And we also need to manage how they apply pressure to us, ladies and gentlemen, because we know now, we've seen it a couple of times, we've seen it before, and we've seen it time and time again. The Bulls do not handle pressure well at all. Orlando, they played a zone. We shot out of the zone. The zone wasn't an issue today in my eyes. But as soon as they applied pressure to our guards do not respond very well to that. We end up taking rush shots, unnecessary turnovers, not making the right plays. We're not in rhythm. We're not balanced. And we end up just giving up leads or giving up some of our points because of that situation. So it's in the scouting report now, and we're seeing it. This is exactly what I said last week when we saw pressure from teams like the Raptors, teams like the Spurs, teams like the Thunder, and the Magic as well. But mainly the Thunder is when it started for me, when they saw pressure and they applied it to the Chicago Bulls. Ever since then, every single team has applied pressure in the later stages of the game, and we do not handle it well, which means that no lead is going to be safe for the Chicago Bulls if we can't deal with the pressure that other teams provide. It's a big issue, and it has been all week. Until we can resolve and find ways to fix those issues, such as slowing down or giving it to the right players to make the plays, we are not going to do very well in terms of managing games. That's a big issue that we need to focus on. And luckily, Orlando, it was 115 to 115. Orlando in the last 5 minutes stayed on 115 because they couldn't finish either. And in the last 5 minutes, our defense was great. But all the way through, our defense was not strong. And all the way through, we did not we didn't handle that pressure very well. So we're just lucky that we came against a team in the Orlando Magic that just can't finish games. And it reflects in their record. They've actually had one of the better, I guess, winning streaks in the NBA. I think they won 3 out of their last 4 games and stuff like that. So ever since the last time they versed the Bulls till now, they've been winning games. But this is definitely a team we should be beating, and it's a team that we've beaten. Very simple, very easy, very simple like that. Let's move into the individual performances, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start off with DeMar DeRozan, that had 29 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. DeMar DeRozan was once again the DeMar DeRozan that we love. Fantastic, extremely efficient, made 2 threes in the game as well. Overall was 12 from 20. He was fantastic in today's game. He got a little bit of good playmaking stats as well for him. Defense was pretty solid in some ways. Of course, there was one instance where he kind of allowed someone to get an open dunk. But DeMar DeRozan himself got a little bit of a nice posterizer on the Orlando Magic, paying them back for what they did in their last game against us, with obviously Jalen Suggs getting a slam dunk over DeMar DeRozan. That's a little bit of revenge for the Orlando Magic. And again, this is the team, Orlando, that talked a lot to the Chicago Bulls, trash talking to our players and our team when we last versed them. So it does feel a little bit bittersweet to get this win. Of course, the bitterness is that there are still big issues with this team, but the sweet part is we won the game and we got a little bit of revenge over Orlando, and we saw different players play very well compared to the last time we played them. DeMar DeRozan was one of those guys that was pretty good against the Orlando Magic, the only one that was scoring. And in this game, we had well-balanced players around him that contributed in great ways, and he still managed to get his buckets and he still managed to get his assists. So he was terrific in my eyes today. Definitely in contention for the player of the game. Aidan had 13 points, 1 rebound, and 9 assists with 1 steal. So close to that double-double, ladies and gentlemen. But my goodness, is his passing taking another level for the Chicago Bulls in recent games. Some of the passes that he's able to do, again, he's become a master at the no-look passes, and that's obviously good to see. I don't want to see it every single time down the court because no-look passes are very risky, especially if there's not an easy pass to make there. But he's very, very good at the no-look passes. He's very good at the bounce passes. He does find ways in a pick and roll to get it to guys that even I don't expect when watching the game. And it's a lot easier to watch the game and find those players than actually playing the game and finding those players. So he's doing some really unique and really great passes that take the defense out of it for the Orlando Magic, and it's easy passes to our center and our big men, and it comes to passing out to the three-point shot. He's been fantastic in the passing department, and he was only 1 assist away from another double-double, which is fantastic. His shooting was really good as well, 4 from 7 from the field, 57% overall. He made 3 out of 5 three-point shots, and he made 2 really important shots in the final stretches of the game to kind of take it away from the Orlando Magic. He's been fantastic for a while now, ladies and gentlemen, and all I can say is I'm really proud that he's on our team. Every single time that he has a great game like this, all I can think of is how proud I am that we have him here and how lucky we are that 29 other teams, or majority of the teams in the NBA, passed up on him, and we have him here, and he deserves everything that he's getting right now. He's also in the Rising Stars game, which again, he had to earn that because he's a second round pick at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Not many second round picks are going to get their opportunity in the Rising Stars game, but he's earned it with his play on the court, and I hope he shines through in that game as well. It looks like it's going to be a great time for Aidan. Zach LaVine had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 from 17 from the field today, 2 from 5 from 3. The efficiency numbers were a little bit more improved for Zach LaVine. The first quarter was a really dominating one for him. He did miss a couple of tough shots. He took a lot of tough shots that I didn't see was necessary, and those are always going to be problems with Zach LaVine. It has been since his return, and today's no different. But when the efficiency numbers are up and when he's making those shots, I don't have too much of a problem. I do have a little bit of a problem with his defense today. I think at the end of the day, he kind of slacked off a little bit, and the guys that he was guarding did get a couple of shots on him. Zach LaVine has been a much improved defender since his Olympic experience. So seeing him slack off on defense is not what a superstar player should be doing. And I feel like he did that today. That's my personal issue with Zach LaVine. Yes, he's always going to take tough shots. When he makes it, no one's going to complain about it. But when he's not playing defense, that's when things begin to look a little bit of a bleaker time for Zach LaVine. But overall, offensively, he was great today. Let's see him get a little bit more players involved. He got 3 assists today. I think he could do better than that. So let's see in the next game if he can step up and try to get more players involved. And his offense can come naturally. We don't need to see Zach LaVine dribble the ball and become a primary ball handler for him to get his shots. There have been great players on this team, from Kobe White to DeMar DeRozan to Aidan. Even when when players are fully healthy, like Caruso, Alonso, that can get Zach LaVine shots off the ball. And he's the most efficient in my eyes when he's playing off the ball and when he's not trying to force up his own shots. So that's what I want to see in future games, obviously, but we'll wait and see if that's going to be the case. Nikola Vucevic had an 18-point, 13 rebounds, 2 assist performance. He had 3 blocks in today's game as well. He was also a little bit shy from the field, 8 from 17 overall, 47%. For a center, you want to see that gradually improve, of course. He also made 0 from 5 from the three-point line. He didn't make a 3, and he took a lot more than what we've seen from him. But again, a lot of his dominance came in the paint. A lot of what he did came in the paint. Wendell Carter outplayed him. Obviously, you don't want to see that. Wendell Carter always plays well against the Bulls. But the reality is, Vucevic has done his damage in the paint for the majority of the time since that last Orlando game. He's had pretty much a full week of constant pressure in the paint, post hooks, offensive rebounds, layups, everything of those sorts. Even in pick and rolls, he's diving to the basket a lot more than what we see from him in previous games. So it might have not been his best game this week, or far from it, to be honest, but he's still having a good impact in the game because he's making the easy shots, and that's what we need to see from him in the future as well. Javonte Green, 11 points and 7 rebounds. Again, another player that seems to be everywhere. He took a lot of shots today compared to what we usually see from him. 3 from 8 from the field in total, but getting to the foul line, 5 from 7 from the foul line. Getting those fouls, playing physical, getting nice rebounds, competing. He got a nice putback in the first quarter. These types of things are what Javonte Green is known for, and that's why he gets a lot of minutes on this team. So I don't have too much to say about his performance in total. Kobe White had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 4 from 12 from the field and 1 from 5 from the three-point line. Kobe White's shooting, I think we can all agree, was not at its best today. He's had a little bit of an up and down time in terms of scoring, but his defense and his facilitating, in my opinion, is the reason why he continues to play a lot of those minutes. He's getting, I guess, trusted by Billy Donovan now to play in meaningful and important minutes on the defensive end as well. It's not always Kobe White can't play defense. There's not even a conversation these days anymore because of that. He does a lot of work and he does a lot of great things on that defensive end, especially recently. There's still a lot of work and improvements that Kobe White needs to do, and he's continuing to put in the work, and I think he will eventually become a much better player for the Chicago Bulls. He's already been a good player in recent times, and he does have a lot of room where he can improve. But in total, he's getting the trusted minutes by Billy Donovan. He's getting trusted minutes by the coaching staff because he's able to put a shift in on both ends of the ball, no matter how good or bad he is on both ends of the ball at certain times. Troy Brown Jr. had 9 points and 3 rebounds. I actually really did like Troy Brown's game today. A lot of hustle plays as per usual, a lot of good rebounding, decent defense, and he makes his shots today. When he makes his shots, he's much more noticeable on the floor. People will have to respect him, and he's a corner shooter, ladies and gentlemen. The important thing about the Chicago Bulls team is that we have so many great mid-range shooters and so many great players that could cut to the basket. The corner shots are vital for the Chicago Bulls, and we have a lot of players that'll be wide open from that position. Javonte Green, someone that didn't make a lot of his corner threes today, will always be open from that spot. Ayo Dosunmu, open from that spot. He took a nice shot at the end of the game in that corner position. You got players like Troy Brown Jr. When they make the shots, it's important that they're on the court because we need people that can make that shot because it's always going to be available to us whenever we need it. And I'm very happy that he was able to contribute in that way. Matt Thomas only had 3 points and 1 rebound. He didn't play a lot of minutes today in total. But again, when he did take his shot, he made it. That's all I could really say. Those 3 additional points was very valuable for the Bulls. Defensively, he keeps getting lost, and he's not the greatest defender. We all know that. But he does need to improve defensively. He works very hard on that end. It's very similar to what we were saying about Denzel Valentine when he was playing on the Chicago Bulls. He tries very hard on the defensive end, but he's not a natural defender, and we can clearly see that when he plays. Tyler Cook had 6 points and 5 rebounds, and I'm going to add Tony Bradley in this situation as well, who had 2 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in 4 minutes of game time. Tyler Cook and Tony Bradley. Look, if Billy Donovan went with Tyler Cook from the very beginning, I would say that he did a great job in selecting going a little bit smaller against the Orlando Magic, who do have very versatile big men, and they can switch onto guards at times. I would have said Billy Donovan was very good and very smart in going with Tyler Cook in this game because they don't have, outside maybe Mo Bamba, a really good tall center that is able to block shots. And even Mo Bamba's not really the best in that area at times. He does have his moments in the NBA, but he's not always been that type of guy. So Tyler Cook definitely matched this game because he was very versatile and he did help on the defensive end in terms of the pick and roll and all of that situation, which was very well needed. But he went with Tony Bradley first, which in my eyes shows that he can't trust both of these guys consistently to do a job for the Chicago Bulls. He goes with Tony Bradley first. He sees that it's not working out. He makes the right adjustment to bring Tyler Cook in because clearly that was the way to go. And we saw that throughout the game. He had a much better game, Tyler Cook, than what he had in the previous games. But that shows to me that he can't trust both of them. And in the next game, we could see Tyler Cook play a little bit more minutes. He doesn't play well. Then Tony Bradley comes in. Again, when you don't have two, significant players, or you don't have that main backup center, you have to have multiple guys that can make it work on given nights. But the lack of trust, in my opinion, is very evident in that situation. I know the Bulls will try to deny it. Maybe the coaching staff will deny it. I don't know. It's not my place to say if they deny that or not. But I think it's very evident in the terms of that backup center position. We don't have a significant answer. We don't have a lot of significant answers in that position to help the Chicago Bulls. So we go with what works at that time. And we need to see, good minutes out of a consistent guy in that backup position. I think that's very well needed. And it shows in both of those level of play in the recent games for both Tyler Cook and Tony Bradley. Looking at the must improve, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give it to Coby White. I know Coby White, again, defensive-wise, assist-wise, was very good for the Chicago Bulls, but his efficiency numbers and even some of his shot selection today was not up to par than what we expect. Yes, you could give it to other people as well, but the fact is, when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, we need to see great shot selection, of course. Our bench actually contributed a lot more for the Chicago Bulls than what we've seen in quite some time. But when it comes to the shooting efficiencies, Coby White was the big one that was not really good for the Chicago Bulls. It's the big one. It's the one that stands out. He had the worst efficiency on the court today, and it showed in his level of play. I like his assist numbers, of course. I like the fact that he was playing defense, and that's great to see as well. But in total, when he's not scoring at an efficient level and everybody else is, it's very easy to give that must improve to Coby White. The player of the game for me is going to be DeMar DeRozan. Very easy, in my opinion, to give it to DeMar DeRozan because, again, when everybody was playing really, really fast and when everybody was trying to get something quickly, when no one was moving on the court, when they applied pressure to us, DeMar DeRozan is the only guy that I could really trust with the ball in his hands when everything's going against us, when they get multiple stops, the Orlando Magic. DeMar's the only guy that I really trust to go and get us some easy opportunities, get the best shot selection available, and just to kill off a team when they're coming at you the way that Orlando did in that fourth quarter. DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion, was the key to the win, as he always has been for quite some time now, and he has a very calming essence about him that makes sure that he can put teams away, again, when they're applying so much pressure to you. He plays at his own pace. I think Orlando did a great job in changing the pace in which we like to play. Our half-court sets, we don't play fast. We like to play a little bit slower when we get into those half-court sets. We can run out and transition, that's great. That's when we like to play fast. But in terms of the half-court sets, we're a very slow team. We like to play it slow. And they dictate how fast we play. They make us rush into things, and that's how they ended up coming back. You give the ball to DeMar DeRozan, DeMar plays at his own pace. No matter what the situation is, who's applying pressure, who's not, DeMar plays with his own pace and he makes great decisions on this court. And that's why we won the game in my eyes. And again, he was the big decision, the big key factor as to how we extended the lead when they did end up tying the game late on. The Bulls' record is 32-18, ladies and gentlemen. We actually sit first in the Eastern Conference. Miami Heat lost 2 games, I believe, in a row, or 2 games against the same opponent in a row, and Philly has overtaken them. So Philly's a team we're going to be versing next week, which is very interesting to see. Obviously, we do have a couple of things in mind for Philly. We would have to, considering they did beat us twice already this season. But we have to be aware of who we're versing next, ladies and gentlemen, because we're versing the Toronto Raptors. If Miami Heat were first in the Eastern Conference before they versed the Toronto Raptors, Toronto beat them twice. They beat them today, I believe, and they beat them in a 3-overtime game. So the reality is, that's Toronto Raptors beating the first team in the Eastern Conference twice. We beat Toronto last week. Obviously, this is a different situation. We're not going to be in Chicago this time. We're going to go to Canada. I don't think there's going to be much of a crowd there at all. And, of course, we're going to be versing a team that's going to be red hot after beating the best Eastern Conference team at the time twice. So we have a really tough game in our hands. Obviously, we know Toronto is going to be a tough team. They were tough against us last time. Obviously, even the first time around, they were very tough to beat. It's always going to be tough against the Toronto Raptors, but we do have an opportunity here to beat them and kind of secure even further our position as the first team in the Eastern Conference. You see teams like Brooklyn suffering with injuries. Milwaukee hasn't had a good stretch of games. Obviously, Cavs and Heat and Sixers are playing very well, and the Chicago Bulls are still first in the Eastern Conference. They've managed to get their spot back. So beating Toronto Raptors allows us to keep that spot for a little bit while longer, and that's what we have to have our goals set on. We got our spot back. Let's try and defend it, and obviously a tough team in Toronto that we're going to be facing, that's going to be the key if we can walk out with a win against them. It's going to be a very huge game in my eyes, really tough competition, and if we walk away with a win, it's going to be great for our team. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.